what
know
are
I mean?
real men?
Right. To me, a real man is a responsible man.
Because every time a man does some shit, they'll be like, that's not a real man. And it's like, looks
is?
like a man to me.
2 days to do all of it. Everyone involved can tell you how miserable that was.
Fuck the system.
Do I look at you or the
You'll
camera?
just look right at me. You'll just ignore the camera.
Okay.
There are a lot of people saying you could be the next great quarterback. I can already see it now.
What was it about the script that drew you in?
First and foremost, I think that was the mashup of the genres and the fact that I couldn't really point to anything else that existed, at least in my mind when I was reading it. Felt like an opportunity to create something new, at least attempt to, in that specificity of like these American quarterbacks striving for greatness and willing to do whatever it takes. I felt like there was a universal theme there that artists of any discipline or anyone excited about their craft or their work could relate to, especially after, I guess, the reckoning of the pandemic and a lot of people having to sit and think about how you spend your time.
Cam running down the tunnel with the crowd chanting his name.
I hear you've been invited to train with legend Isaiah White himself. Care to elaborate?
I want to be the GOAT.
There's so much actually already exposés written about the NFL, the health care system within the NFL and who gets treatment and addiction and to different things that keep these bodies going. And it was kind of like there culturally. I mean, Will Smith made a movie called Concussion. People are like, you can't bring, like, Will Smith literally made a movie called Concussion. It existed, and I tried to just absorb all of it, and from every perspective. So from ESPN docs to deeper analysis, a book called, The Black Quarterback, to history of just the NFL.
Cameron King. Great meeting you. I'm a fan. That's crazy. I damn near worshipped you growing up.
If there was a GOAT in the film industry that you could get tips or training from, who would you pick?
Ooh, like today, right now, Paul Thomas Anderson. He brings like a kind of epic romance to marginalized characters. Some of those montages and sequences he cuts together are like, damn. Specifically, Magnolia.
Clint Eastwood. Because he's been making his own movies for as long as I can remember, and I think that's super talent. He's a good-looking man and a white man, and he decided, no, I want to make my movies, and I just think that was awesome and powerful.
I think for me, Will Ferrell. He's iconic and funny, and there's a certain level of
He's a great actor.
the performance, and he takes up space and is not afraid to fail. If he fails, he fails forward, and it works. Yeah, I want to be very clear. He's never failed, in my opinion.
Don't look at me.
I know who you're gonna say.
Who?
Meryl Streep.
No, because I said her last time. I'm gonna take your answer, Jim Carrey. Yeah, just because he's so versatile and he's really a character actor, and I would love to do more things like that, where I just like a different accent, prosthetics, like just go like all in like a crazy kind of way that he does.
It's so nice to meet you, finally. You have no idea how happy I am to see you, and I'm just so happy that you're here. It's like, it's been a difficult time with the R word, retirement. Right. It's like passing the baton, and transitions of power are never peaceful.
I grew up Catholic, so that was easy. There is something in American culture about it that has religious undertones, so it just felt natural, and it also was hitting like a handshake or conversation with the horror genre itself. So it was one of those things that had the crossover that if you push it in the right direction for a beat, you're servicing both football fans that don't know anything about horror and also horror fans that don't know anything about football. If you really look at, the movie as a whole, even, there was a monologue at one point about this, but I actually approached it thinking of them in terms biblically of the story of the scapegoat. 2 sacrificial goats exist. One gets sent into the desert and they carry the sins of the people. And so that walks into the wilderness and takes the sins with it. It's like renewal. And the other goat is the blood sacrifice. Who's the scapegoat and who's the blood sacrifice?
You know the saying, God, family, football. For me, it's football, family, God.
The ending of the movie specifically, fans have been really like kind of hypothesizing what they felt like it meant.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what everyone thinks it meant. I knew I needed to escalate the scene we just came from, which was also just bizarre. I wanted to get to a place of a kind of uncanny valley of the pomp and circumstance of the Super Bowl, if you will, where everything you've ever wanted, dreams come true, fairy tale. And it's not made up. It's just, we just went and got a thing made at the people that make tunnels, inflatable tunnels. Just so happened to be a goat head. A catharsis of sorts. Oddly, darkly funny. Unusually hopeful for reasons maybe undescribable, as violent as it is. The goal was to make people go, what the fuck just happened? When it cuts to black.
I can tell you what I felt. I was covered in blood. Oh, well, don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, I think the essence of the ending is choosing your own path.
And
success.
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, and then, you don't have to fold on your morals to continue that journey to the top. You don't have to abide by people's rules. There's going to be opportunities presented to you on that journey. And, I think there's a point of like selling your soul, like literally, but also I think part of selling your soul is doing things that you don't morally align with.
For money.
Yeah, for money and success and whatnot. And I think that's multi-layered. And that's the beauty of this film is you can keep dissecting each scene or each shot to a whole different dimension.
Buck the system.
Well, we could only shoot it in one take because we only had one dress. So it was a little stressful, and I'd never done anything like that before. But I just had to do it. There was no second take, so yeah.
You smashed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's like 10 different versions I've written for this movie and actually 2 of which you will be able to see on the extras. There's one version in my head I didn't quite fully realize where he does say yes, but it's a totally different movie with different plotting. There's a version that you'll see on the extras that's what if he kept going. It's more of a horror. Not to say any of them would have been better or worse, but they exist.
And how difficult was it filming that final scene? I mean, there's multiple creative deaths that occur.
Dog, you have no idea. I got PTSD just thinking about it. We only had like 2 days to do all of it. What we learned, which we didn't know when we committed to that location, was we couldn't get blood on the field. Yeah, like that was working for us. A literal sandstorm happened, blew the tents away. The winds were hitting like 80 miles an hour, and it was like freezing cold in the day because we were in the desert, and then like 90 degrees during the day. It was like the most miserable. Everyone involved can tell you how miserable that was. But we got it done, just like sports. So it took a lot of coordination and basically running around like a chicken with its head cut off.
Cam, are you okay?
I think something's off.
Do you want to know what you're getting yourself into?
Now we playing some football!
There's some dialogue in this movie about kind of discussing what a real man is. Why do you think movies about this topic are so important?
More important today more than ever because the internet exists. And it's increasing at a rate that is quicker than we can keep up with. Blink, and then 2 months later, there's something trending on TikTok that is getting young boys to hate women. Pulls out the worst of what mainstream culture presents as masculine, and I think it gets misinterpreted and misinformed. If the goal is to recapture the attention and have a more nuanced conversation rather than just take the red pill and do the cowardly thing and not think and just think you are entitled to whatever you want to say and do.
Because I think the youth needs to hear what real men are. I think there's there's masculinity.
But what are real men?
Right. To me, a real man is a responsible man.
Because every time a man does some fuck shit, they'll be like, "That's not a real man," and it's like, looks like a man to me.
I think a real man is in touch with his feminine side.
Looks like a duck and it walks like a duck.
I mean?
Yeah.
I think a real man is knows how to unstrap from his ego.
I don't know. I think the real man thing is just a thing like that people invented to like excuse bad behavior. You know.
Yeah,
like all men are real men.
Said like a real man.
Period.
Yeah, I think
how it is.
I think I think being like, to further add on what she's saying, I think there's this false narrative of what real men do, and I think it's tied into privilege and masculinity, and I think exploring that in films is important because we're raising these young boys to be men, and we can go that extra step to educate boys, and on that journey of how to tap into the femininity, the vulnerability. That way we can further protect women. So yeah, I think that's why it's important.
My gosh, you guys just made a show so intense. What was the one? It's like all oneers.
Adolescence.
Yeah, that was. Damn.
You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing but an emotional little pretty boy chasing validation from strangers because your father didn't love you.
Carmen Cuba, our casting director, had a big part in it. She introduced me to Julia and Tyriq, like off the rip was like, and it was like genius. But also kind of like had to fight for because they didn't have that much to show or be able to point to say they could carry these scenes in that way or carry a film in that way. Tyriq was definitely just brand new to the scene. Marlon, it was kind of like, I knew it was going to be Marlon just because he had so much charisma and humor and grew up around this fame, celebrity, and money, and I knew that was all there to be molded and expressed in a dramatic way, and I just didn't think he had the opportunity.